Hi friends, my name is Nikhil Asha and you're watching Navchetna. We discussed this in our previous video. If you missed it, you could have a look by clicking on the suggested video on the top right corner. Like this, that too is a determiner, a pronoun and an adverb. That is a conjunction as well. A conjunction is a connecting word that connects two words, phrases, clauses or sentences. Let's see how that is used in English grammar. We use that to refer back to an idea or situation expressed in a previous sentence or sentences. Let's see some examples. He said, "You've been waiting for me for an hour. Why is that?" "Hey, is there anything the matter with my sisters? Is that why you're phoning?" We use that to refer to someone or something already mentioned. Let's see some examples. "No, I'm not in love with Nidhi. Where did you get that idea?" "It was a secret. That's why I never talked about it." We use that to refer to a period, event or experience in the past. We use expressions such as that morning or that afternoon to indicate that we are referring to an earlier period of the same day. Let's see some examples. "Remember that time we all went to the temple? We once taught English, but that was a long time ago." "The story was published in a Sunday newspaper later that week." We use that in expressions such as that of and that which to introduce more information about something already mentioned instead of repeating the noun which refers to it. Let's see some examples. A recession like that of 2008 could put 1 in 10 Indian companies into bankruptcy. There are two ways to express yourself, that which you can write and which you can speak. We use that in front of words or expressions which express agreement, responses or reactions to what has just been said. Let's see some examples. "She said she'd met you in Patna. That's true." "I've never been to Bangalore. That's a pity. You should go one day." We use that to introduce a person or thing that we are going to give details or information about. Let's see some examples. "In my case, I chose that course which I considered right." That person who violates the law and discriminates should suffer in his career. We use that to introduce a subject in a very general term. Let's see some examples. "Too much time is spent worrying that one can change." When there are two or more persons or things near us, that refers to the more distant one. Let's see some examples. "Look at that man. He's got an umbrella in his hands." "Where did you get that hat?" "You see that man over there? That man who is carrying a briefcase?" We use that when we are identifying someone or asking about their identity. For example, "That's my wife you were talking to." "That's Nikhil Asha, a good friend of mine." I answered the phone and this voice went, "Hello, is that Nikhil?" That is used for referring to someone or something that the person you are speaking to already knows about. Let's see some examples. "The engines started making that noise again." "Why don't you invite that nice Mr. Nikhil?" "That was a terrible case of blackmail in the newspaper today." If something is not that bad, funny or expensive, for example, it is not as bad, funny or expensive as it might be or as has been suggested. Let's see some examples. "It isn't that funny. He didn't look that bad. Kids don't change that fast." We use that to emphasize the degree of a feeling or quality. Let's see some examples. I would have walked out. I was that angry. Do I look that stupid? We use all that or and that to refer generally to everything else which is associated with what we have just mentioned. Let's see some examples. I hate to be nasty and all that. I'm not a teacher myself, but I'm interested in teaching and all that. We use that after a statement that modifies or emphasizes what you have just said. For example, success never seems to come but through hard work, often physically demanding work at that. The cafe was popular with locals and not with more respectable locals at that. We use that is or that is to say to indicate that we are about to express the same idea more clearly or precisely. Let's see some examples. I am a disappointing, though generally caring father. That is, I do what I ought to do. Education ministers ought to have placed the interests of consumers, that is to say, pupils first. We use that's it to indicate that nothing more needs to be done or that the end has been reached. Let's see an example. When he left the office, that was it. The workday was over. We use that's it to express agreement with or approval of what has just been said or done. Let's see an example. You got the job, right? Yeah, that's it. We use just like that to emphasize that something happens or is done immediately or in a very simple way, often without much thought or discussion. Let's see some examples. Just like that, I was in love with Shruti. You mean he sent you back just like that? We use that's that to say there is nothing more we can do or say about a particular matter. Let's see some examples. I want you to go home. I'm staying here and that's that. We can use that after many verbs, adjectives, nouns and expressions to introduce a clause in which we report what someone has said or what they think or feel. Let's see some examples. We were worried that she was going to die. I believe that our economy is heading to a coma. That no one remembered his birthday left Nikhil disappointed. We use that after it and a linking verb and an adjective to comment on a situation or fact. Let's see some example. It's interesting that you like him. It's surprising, interesting, important that he left the office early. I've made up my mind, but it's obvious that you need more time to think. We use that to introduce a clause that gives more information to help identify the person or thing that we are talking about. Let's see some examples. You must take the pills that will make the problem disappear. He has a car that won't start. You should have learned to walk away from things that don't concern you. We use that after expressions with so and such to introduce the result or effect of something. Let's see some examples. She became so nervous that she shook violently. The effect on our blood chemistry is such that it produces physical changes in our entire body. We use that when explaining why someone feels sad, angry, happy, etc. For example, I'm sorry that I missed the first meeting. I'm absolutely delighted that we achieved what we set out to do. We use that to refer to something that has just happened. Let's see an example. That was fun. We must do it again. I hope you enjoyed and learned. Thank you for watching.